Stop fixing women. Start fixing the system. Good evening, everyone. I want to start tonight by introducing you to someone who is rewriting the rules of what it means to build, to lead, and to thrive as a Black woman in business. Her name is Margarita Walton, and she is not just making waves, she is creating tsunamis of change in how we think about entrepreneurship, access, and what real empowerment looks like. Margarita is a force, a visionary, a truth teller who understands that the game is not broken because we do not know how to play. It is rigged because the institutions holding the cards refuse to deal us in. And tonight, I am here to share what she taught me, what the data confirms, and what we all need to hear. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud: African women lead the entire world in entrepreneurship rates. Let that sink in. The entire world. Yet their startups capture only 2 to 3% of global venture capital. 2 to 3%. And before you think, well, maybe they are just not ready, maybe they need more training, more workshops, more empowerment seminars, stop right there. That narrative, it is a lie, a comfortable, convenient lie that lets institutions off the hook. The problem is not readiness. The problem is that the institutions, the banks, the venture capital firms, the networks that control access to real growth capital, they are not prepared to give Black women what they have already earned, what they have already proven they deserve. Margarita Walton knows this. She lives this, and she is done with the rescue mission mentality. Let me paint you a picture. There is a woman named Rebecca Inonchong, a tech pioneer from Cameroon who built Apps Tech from the ground up in the 1990s. Think about that timeline. The 90s in Cameroon, amid economic constraints that would crush most ventures before they even started. Rebecca did not have venture capital knocking on her door. She did not have a network of Silicon Valley mentors on speed dial. She had vision, grit, and an unshakable belief that she belonged in the room, and she built anyway. Rebecca bootstrapped Apps Tech into a pan African IT leader, navigating a male dominated tech industry while balancing cultural expectations that told her to stay small, stay quiet, stay grateful. But Rebecca did not want empowerment programs. She did not need another workshop on confidence. She needed capital. She needed respect. She needed institutions to stop treating her like a charity case and start treating her like the business leader she was. And when the world finally started paying attention, Rebecca did not just take her seat at the table, she flipped it. She became a global voice demanding that we stop trying to fix women and start fixing the systems that failed them. Her message: respect, not rescue. That phrase should be tattooed on every venture capitalist's forehead because here's what the data tells us. Only 37% of African women entrepreneurs have bank accounts compared to 48% of men. Female led startups globally receive 2 to 3% of venture capital funding, despite the fact that women are driving much of the continent's entrepreneurial activity. And in the United States, Black women face an unemployment rate of 7.3%, nearly double the national average of 4.4%. They spend an average of 14 and a half weeks searching for work, 14 and a half weeks of applications, interviews, rejections, and the quiet erosion of confidence that comes when the world keeps telling you you are not enough. But here is the twist: Black women are enough. They have always been enough. The issue is access. Margarita Walton calls this the revenue to scale pipeline. And it is the most important concept you will hear tonight on Black women founders, African women founders. They are generating revenue, real revenue, market traction, proof of concept. They are not sitting around waiting for someone to validate their ideas. They have already validated them. Customers are buying, communities are responding, the business works. But then they hit a wall, the access stage, the point where you need capital to scale, networks to expand, institutional support to go from a solid small business to a sector leading enterprise. And that is where the pipeline breaks, not because the founders are not ready, but because the institutions are not. Let me tell you about a cohort of Black women entrepreneurs across Africa and the diaspora who were stuck at exactly this stage. Revenue, check. Market fit, check. Vision, absolutely. But then access to the finance, the strategic frameworks, the networks that turn a good business into a great one, blocked. So they applied to the Key Network, a program designed specifically to address this gap. And they became what the network calls key holders, women who transition from revenue generation to scalable operations. Women who did not need to be taught how to hustle. They needed to be given the tools to stop hustling and start building systems. They needed rolling admission support tailored to the specific barriers they faced, like limited bank access and weak investor networks. And it worked. Multiple women in that cohort advanced to sector leadership, not because they suddenly became better entrepreneurs, but because someone finally opened the door. Think about that. These women had the talent, they had the drive, they had the revenue. What they did not have was access. And the moment someone provided that access, they soared. Now let us talk about Anna Giftiopoku Agyeman. She wrote a report called The Double Tax, and it is one of the most important pieces of research you will read on Black women in the workforce. Anna documented what many of us already knew, but could not quite name. Black women face a double tax: the tax of being underpaid, undervalued, and overlooked in traditional employment, and the tax of being blamed for it. In 2025, over 600,000 Black women lost their jobs. 600,000. And when federal job cuts came in 2026, Black women were overrepresented, losing 270,000 positions. Anna's research showed that Black women's economic suffering often precedes national downturns. We are the canary in the coal mine. When we start hurting, the whole economy is about to feel it. But here is what Anna also showed: Black women do not just survive these moments, they pivot. They turn workforce pain into entrepreneurial power. They take the skills, the resilience, the networks they built in corporate America, and they build something of their own, something that cannot be taken away by a layoff or a budget cut or a manager who never saw their potential. Anna's work proves that Black women are the economic backbone. And when we choose ourselves, when we stop waiting for institutions to value us and start building our own tables, we do not just survive, we revolutionize. So here's where we are. African women lead the world in entrepreneurship. Black women in the US are turning economic exclusion into business ownership at record rates. The revenue is there, the market traction is there, the capability is undeniable, but the access still blocked. And that is where Margarita Walton's message becomes a rallying cry. Stop asking for training. Start demanding capital. Stop accepting empowerment programs as a substitute for institutional investment. Stop letting people tell you that you need to be fixed when the system is what is broken. Respect, not rescue. This is not about charity. It is not about feel good initiatives or diversity quotas. It is about recognizing that Black women have already done the work. We have built the businesses. We have generated the revenue. We have proven the concept. Now it is time for the institutions to do their part. And if they will not, we build our own. That is what the Key Network represents. That is what Rebecca Inonchong's career represents. That is what every Black woman who has ever turned a side hustle into a six-figure business represents. We are not waiting for permission anymore. We are taking what is ours. But here's the thing: this cannot just be an individual fight. Yes, resilience matters. Yes, grit matters. But we also need collective strategies. We need to support each other's businesses. We need to invest in each other's visions. We need to create the networks and the capital pools that the traditional institutions refuse to provide. Because when one of us scales, we all rise. Margarita Walton taught me that the next economic shift will not come from the top down. It is going to come from us, from Black women who refuse to be rescued and demand to be respected, from entrepreneurs who understand that the revenue to scale pipeline is not just a business framework, it is a blueprint for revolution. So here is my question for you tonight. What if the next economic shift starts with you? What if you stopped waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect investor, the perfect network, and you applied to one accelerator this week? What if you reached out to one mentor, joined one cohort, invested in one Black woman owned business? What if you turned your resilience into revolution? Because that is what this moment demands. Not more empowerment programs, not more training sessions, but bold, unapologetic action, capital, networks, respect. Rebecca proved it is possible. The key holders are doing it right now. Anna gave us the data to back it up. And Margarita Walton is leading the charge. Now it is your turn. The institutions are not going to change on their own. They are comfortable with the status quo. They are comfortable with the narrative that Black women need more training, more support, more time to get ready. But we know the truth. We are ready. We have been ready. What we need is for the doors to open. And if they will not open the doors, we will build our own. I want you to leave here tonight with one clear understanding. The narrative that Black women need to be fixed is a distraction. It is a way to avoid the real conversation. The real conversation is about power. It is about access. It is about who gets to decide which businesses are worthy of investment and which are not. And right now, the people making those decisions are not seeing us. They are not hearing us. They are not investing in us. But that is changing because we are no longer asking for permission. We are no longer waiting for someone to hand us a seat at the table. We are building our own tables. We are creating our own networks. We are funding our own businesses and we are winning. So here is your call to action. This week, I want you to do one thing, just one. Apply to an accelerator like the Key Network. Reach out to a Black woman entrepreneur and ask how you can support her business. Invest in a Black woman owned company. Share a Black woman's work on your platform. Write a check. Make an introduction. Open a door. Do something that moves the needle from rhetoric to reality. Because the next economic revolution is not coming from Silicon Valley. It is not coming from Wall Street. It is coming from us, from Black women who are tired of being told to wait their turn, from entrepreneurs who are building billion-dollar businesses with a fraction of the resources their white counterparts receive, from leaders who are redefining what it means to scale, to succeed, to thrive. Margarita Walton is one of those leaders. Rebecca Inonchong is one of those leaders. Anna Gifty Opoku Agyeman is one of those leaders. The key holders are those leaders. And so are you. Stop waiting. Start building. Demand the respect you have already earned. And watch what happens when Black women are finally given the capital, the networks, and the institutional support we have always deserved. The revolution is not coming, it is already here. And it is being led by us. Thank you.